Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim-flam sauce with the awesome fave, with shafafa on the side.
Hey, welcome everybody, and it is a spectacular day on the Lunchbox. We are here for a special remote edition in beautiful Delray Beach with legendary South Florida restaurateur Bert Rappaport.
Yeah,
joins us today. My pleasure, Bert. Thank you so much for having us out here.
Oh, Mike, thanks for coming
pleasure,
out.
my friend.
Jeff.
Pleasure.
We've got Jeff Defo DeForest, and obviously. Playoffs are in full swing. We talk a little sports here. We talk a little bit of food. But let's get right to it, Bert. I guess the restaurants that you have now, like Deck 84, does a playoff run, deep playoff runs for the Heat or Panthers impact, the bottom line? Do people come out and actually watch these games here?
A little bit. These games now are starting at 8:30, so it's a little bit late for our crowd. But when they were like the Sunday afternoon games, and certainly football season is huge.
Yeah, I can imagine. This is a great spot. Deck 84. Now, I want to get, Jeff Defo DeForest, how are you today, by the way?
I couldn't be better. I mean, always wanted to, get inside Bert's head here, a very successful restaurateur. And raffles, man, what was the inspiration there?
That's a great place to start.
Yeah, that was the beginning, right?
That was the beginning.
I mean, legendary joint here in South Florida, and you've managed to parlay this into any number of successes since.
So, Dennis Max and I moved down here in 78. And the reason we came down, actually, was to be partners in Carlos and Pepe's.
Really? On 17th Street?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And, I remember a couple of months ago, there was a whole string on your on Let's Eat South Florida about
105,000 strong, by the way. We just hit the 105 grand mark yesterday. It's kind of crazy. It's
unbelievable.
It's bigger than some cities and sports stadiums.
You could run for office.
He could fill the big house.
And win.
Not with the skeletons in my closet, Bert. So people were talking about
Carlos. So Dennis and I were two of the original four partners in Carlos and Pepe's, along with Dave Alterman and Carlos Puglisi. And about a month before it opened, Dave fired me and Dennis. And here we are in Fort Lauderdale, sleeping on my grandmother's couch, fold-out couch. I says, what are we going to do? So we found a group of investors through a mutual friend. They wanted to open up a nightclub in Lauderdale, and we were more restaurant guys, and we found a location down at Dayland Mall to do a restaurant.
Down south, which back then, I guess it was kind of like farmland around there. Or was it developed? Or
buzzards were hovering overhead there. You could hear the bird noises.
Yeah. They were calling it Deadland.
Yeah.
But there was a good mall not far from the school, and we opened up raffles. It was kind of a cross between a Fridays and a Houston's with mostly everything we did was from scratch, homemade.
And it was a hit. It was a huge hit, right?
Well, not at the very beginning.
Okay.
It was a good lunch spot and early dinner spot. But by 9 o'clock, we were closing up. And we said, here it is in Miami. Now it's 1980, and we're closing a restaurant at 9 o'clock. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
So Dennis says, we should have some entertainment here. So one of our busboys was in the music program at the U. And I had said to him, you know any guys that play in a band that might want to play here? And he says, yeah, I got some friends, and they're really good. And I said, bring them in. Let me talk to them. So I sit down with these kids, and we interview them. And they seemed like good guys and knew what they were doing. And so I said, do you guys want the job? And they said, sure. I said, what are your names? He said, Emilio Estefan, John Cicada.
Wow.
Ed Kaye. And a couple other guys I can't remember, but these guys came in, and we went from being dead at 9 o'clock to packed at 3 a.m.
And that was the original incarnation of Miami Sound Machine. I didn't realize John Cicada was in the band originally. That's how long ago that was.
Well, back then he was Juan Cicada.
Okay. And That's
Yeah.
incredible.
And they called themselves the company, and then they morphed. When Gloria came along, they morphed into Miami Sound Machine, and they had a huge following. I'll never forget, like this, one of the first nights that they were playing, there was a line outside waiting to get in, and the hostess says, "There's a guy outside that wants to talk to you." So I go outside. He's a kid about my size. And I said, "Hi, could I help you?" He says, "Is it okay if I come in?" I said, "Who are you?" He said, "My name's Jim Kelly." I said, "Go on in, Jim."
Yeah,
But-
you're welcome anytime.
We sold more Cristal and Dom Perignon than anybody else in Miami in
Wow.
1980.
Wow, because there was no South Beach then. That's what people got to recall. Back then, that was like basically, it was like hotels for the elderly. Yeah.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
Everybody on
Everybody
folding
was in
chairs,
rocking chairs. Yeah.
listening to either the Cuba,
I was waiting for Godot.
yeah,
Well, there was some hot spots in the Grove,
Yeah.
right.
but
That's true.
nobody had the 3 o'clock license, and we had all those cocaine cowboys coming in throwing $100 bills around. It was pretty wild.
Those were the
time.
days. Yeah, those were the days. That's when I moved here. It was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah,
Coming from LA, I thought, wow, what was I doing on the West Coast when this was happening?
Oh man,
Yeah.
it was
it
pretty
was-
crazy. So the first year, we made $1 million in profit.
Right.
Oh, beautiful.
Back in those days, which was huge.
That
Yeah.
was big money back then.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
I mean, it still
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but we had 6 partners. So, Dennis and I were minority partners, but we built raffles up to 6 locations throughout Florida and one in Atlanta.
Hmm.
And then we ended up selling out. And Dennis went ahead and opened up Cafe Max.
Right. That's
And
okay.
And I
But
went
you
to
were
rehab.
not involved in that.
No.
You did the Prezzo. What was it? What
Well,
happened at
yeah,
that point?
So what happened was Dennis he found this little spot in Pompano. He wanted to open up a place, and it didn't feel right to me. And I just been partying for 4 or 5 years pretty hard. So I went back up to New York and moved in with my parents for 6 months.
You needed to just take it easy.
Yeah, just to
I
regroup.
retired.
And let's back up a little. First of all, we're here at Deck 84. It's beautiful Delray Beach. You come right across Atlantic from 95. When you get to the drawbridge in the Intracoastal, stop, pull in the valet lot, and you're
Turn
here.
right before the bridge if you're going
Yeah.
east. Yeah.
Yes, and Deck 84 has been here. How many years, Bert? It's
10 years.
10-year anniversary. And it's a beautiful spot for lunch and early dinner. I guess you do close on the earlier side, 9 o'clock? Or,
Yeah, 9 or 10.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And so, again, outdoors, al fresco, beautiful here. You have a good season this past season? Yeah.
This was our best season ever
Oh,
at
wow.
all the locations. Deck 84 from January, February, and March averaged over 1,000 meals a day.
Wow, that's a lot of covers. That's a
That's a-
lot of.
And if you saw the kitchen, you'd say, "How do you do that?" It's like a submarine kitchen.
Already
but-
packed outside here and, barely cracked 12 o'clock.
And we're on a weekday in, the postseason. But, the season, there is a 12-month season now here. You have year-round residents, and it's
we
gotten
do.
good. But
and the water helps,
the
but
water,
we're
definitely.
certainly the busiest restaurant in Delray.
Yeah, it's great. Now let's back up a little bit because you've opened more than 40 restaurants. Your career spanned
restaurants.
more than 40 years.
I've closed a lot.
Closed them. Yeah, I wouldn't want to say it, but he's opened a lot, closed a few. But he's, the man is dynamite. He knows what he's doing. But backing up all the way, you grew up in New York. Your grandfather and father were in the business. They had a kosher dairy restaurant, right? Can you
Right.
tell us about that?
Yeah, my grandfather opened it in 1923, and they had it for 50 years. As a kid, we lived upstairs, so I was literally, born and raised in a restaurant. And ever since I was old enough, they put me to work, stocking the storerooms and washing dishes, whatever else they needed. So it's pretty much been in my DNA my
Yeah.
whole life.
But you branched out. You went west for college, right? You went to Arizona State University.
yeah.
Is that right?
I did.
Why did you go west? Which I'm sure your mother and all the family members were like,
Get
oh
as
my
far away
God.
from the
he's-
family as you can. That's the concept,
Well,
isn't it?
Because I wanted to come to Miami. I wanted to go somewhere warm. I hated the cold
Yeah.
weather. I wanted to go to Miami, and my dad said, "You can't go to Miami. That's a party school."
Ah.
But what he meant was, I'm not paying that tuition in Miami.
Yeah, for sure.
And Arizona State was easy to get into. It was warm. And
Was it a hospitality school or what was?
No, it was just I just got a degree in business.
Okay.
But I went out there. I'll never forget. My folks took me to the airport. I was 17 years old, never been away from home.
Oh, we've got some food
All
dropping
right.
in here. It's
Yeah.
not a
Now, Mayo decided to go
lunchbox.
on a diet this morning, some kind of strange diet. I hope he
No.
didn't abide by any of his principles.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
We're gonna get him
in
fat.
terms of the choices. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
this is a very easy. It's keto. You just have the protein. You leave the carbs and some of the fried stuff, the tortilla chips aside. But we got a beautiful. What is this here?
That looks
Ceviche.
like a
Yeah,
ceviche.
ceviche.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
fantastic.
And you guys
It smells great, by the way. It
You
smells
stress the fresh
Yep.
seafood here,
Yeah.
along with you've got now a sushi program in place. I
Yes, yeah, we started sushi here about a month ago, and actually, this is a new item we just put on today.
Nice. So again, that is keto friendly from Mayo. And no, so you went to Arizona State, but then you went even further west to California, which is how Defo got his start. He went from
Yeah.
Brooklyn to the LA
Oh, is
area
that right?
as a
I
sports
was out
writer.
there from about 1974 till 81 when I came here,
Oh, wow.
and great restaurant scene there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. Were you in LA?
I was in L.A.
Okay.
Victoria Station was
That's
it?
where I was a bartender there,
Uh-huh.
and Dennis was a waiter. That's where we
That's
first
where
met.
they first met. The
Oh yeah.
the
No.
big-
No. What year was
in
this?
L.A. This was in
Mid-70s, maybe.
73.
So you
Okay.
were out there at the same time.
Yeah,
A
Probably
little
about-
after that, I ended
Yeah.
up working at this place. It was phenomenal, and it, and they're made by Elmer Dills. This is why Mayo's so powerful.
What?
Who was a restaurant critic out there? It was dynamite. He had a radio show.
Yeah.
Kind of inspired the origins of this, because the guy was great, man. People would call in though, and he knew every restaurant in LA from like the highest end to like a taco stand in the middle of nowhere
Wow.
in East LA. But I worked at this place called the Dar Maghreb, which was a Moroccan restaurant on Sunset Strip.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know if you were out there in the mid 70s. It went from like a soft opening. We were serving maybe like 35 people a night. Dill said it was the greatest place he'd ever been to in his life, and from that point on, slammed with every superstar that would frequent in LA. Moroccan restaurant, no silverware. It was great for a waiter, and the people. I mean, you had the highest end, people in Hollywood picking at lemon chicken with their
Right.
fingers.
Wow.
And eating Bastilla, which was a pie dish that.
Well, it's great if
yeah.
they're not waiting for their food, or if they no utensils. You hope they don't start throwing the food at you if you're the server. but-
that happened too. I mean, there was some of that, but yeah, it was hot. But a very diverse restaurant scene out there at the
So-
time. It was
but that-
absolutely
It was a lot of
fantastic,
fun.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so cool that you met Dennis out there working at a restaurant, and then you both decided to strike eastward again. And Miami, you just saw it as a land of promise, right? I guess.
Well, no, the Carlos and Pepe's thing brought us down here.
okay, and then
You know, we met this guy, Dave Alderman. He was a partner in Chuck's Steakhouses. You remember those?
Okay.
And they had the Chuck's here on 17th Street. He wanted to open up a Mexican restaurant because there was nothing like that down here. So we quit our jobs to come down here for that.
yeah, and then look how it all turned out. So unbelievable. So Raffles then turned into. What was the origins of Prezzo? Because that, I guess, was
Okay.
another, thing that has come back again. It's now in Boca and also Palm Beach Gardens. But you
Right.
revived it after, the original was beloved, and I guess you had several locations. Is that right?
Yeah. So what happened was after Raffles, Dennis did Cafe Max and Max's Place and Max Luna. I went back to New York, and I came back. I helped out my buddy Jack Campbell open up Cafe 66 at the Pier
Okay.
66 Hotel.
Oh, Pier 66. Yeah.
Well, some more food.
There we
Wow,
go.
look at
We
this,
got
man.
some
Man,
sushi.
it's really he must have ultimate respect for you, Bert, because normally he would have chowed down on all of this by now and conducted the entire show with food in his mouth.
I mind my manners
Which is
around
what his
the
fans,
legends.
his groupies assemble here to see him do this live and in person. Whenever
They're all-
we're on the road, yeah.
They were all hovering over the table. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
It's
make
kinda
you
crazy.
happy, Defo. I'll scoop a little
I
bit
need
of
you
the
to do something
ceviche.
here, Michael. I really
And
do.
this
I mean,
is, of course,
this is-
ceviche with the lime juice, and it cures in its own juices. You got the shrimp and the fish and anything else in there. Some chopped up tropical fruits and vegetables.
Now,
Yeah.
conceptually, I mean, you mentioned, and I already forgot the name of the place this was before, but you've been here 10 years with Deck 84?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And obviously, you got some kind of island feel to it a little bit, but what was the concept, when you took over?
for Deck,
For Deck 84, yeah.
it was just wanted to do a casual waterfront place with live music and like a Key West kind of a vibe.
Oh, yeah? Oh, nice, because you have achieved that, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's so funny because when I looked at the space, Jimmy Buffett was here before me looking at it. He wanted to do a Margaritaville here.
Oh yeah.
But his people told him, no, Jimmy, it's too small for us. It's not going to work. So the landlord, I met with the landlord, and he and I hit it off and gave it a shot. And
Free rent for 2 years, and that was it. You were on your
free
way.
rent. No such thing.
How many seats here?
We have, including the deck, the patio, and the inside. There's about 250.
Nice. Yeah. So again, 1,000 covers a day. You do the 4 turns that people are here for lunch and dinner.
Yeah, lunch and dinner.
Beautiful thing. Now I know with Prezzo, I'm going back to it, but I think you hired a young chef who also kind of made a name for himself down here in South Florida.
Yeah. So what happened with Prezzo is, so I came back. When I came back down, I was working at Cafe 66, and Dennis and I said, why don't we do something up in Boca? Because Dennis was up here and whatnot, and we were traveling out to L.A. and San Francisco, and Dennis got to know Wolfgang Puck because
The Puckster started here.
no,
Wow.
he knew him from
okay.
California because they both got picked as the best top 10 new restaurants in the country at the beginning. So we went out to see Spago and went up to San Francisco, and these places have these wood-burning ovens that we'd never seen before. So we said, why don't we do a wood-burning oven place down in Boca? So we were the first wood-burning oven restaurant in South Florida,
Oh yeah. Wow.
to the point where the inspectors didn't know how to deal with us. They didn't, how do you fire rate a wood oven or whatnot? So we got through all that. We opened up Prezzo. It was a hit from the beginning. We were the first restaurant that had radicchio. I mean, people couldn't pronounce it. And we had a chef when we first opened who we had to fire because we had penne alla vodka on the menu. And like one night after we sold 5 of them, he said, Bert, we're out of vodka.
Was he drinking it on the side? Is that the problem?
Yeah, so I had to let him go. So,
it wasn't Tom T, was it? No.
So I bring in this young guy named Angelo Elia for an interview.
Wow.
And I decide to hire him. And he says, Bert, there's only one problem. I said, what's that? He says, I don't have a car. I just lost my car in my divorce to my ex-wife. I said, no problem, Angelo. We'll get you a car. Angelo came in and took us from 1 Prezzo to 3 and just did an amazing job. And I've been so proud of him on what he's accomplished since then. He's just a hardworking, good guy who really cares and so talented.
Yeah, and he, of course, now has the Casa D'Angelo's all over the place. And but you still got Prezzo back going. And I guess, that's the little bump in the road where you try to kind of pay homage to your father and grandfather with Rappy's, making a modern deli in that spot. And I guess the people just didn't want the new twists on the old traditions, or what happened?
I think that it was a good concept, but in the wrong location.
Right.
I think if it would have been in a place where people didn't mind spending $16 on a great pastrami sandwich, it could have done a lot better.
House cured. You did it in the house, and you had all these new modern touches, and you had a bar and like boozy milkshakes, and I could have seen like the Atlantic Avenue of today or Las Olas on Fort Lauderdale, having that modern spin on a classic New York Jewish delicatessen. I think, it could have been something, and it just, the crowd there, they were all like saying, "Where's the They wanted the old traditional classic, so it was.
But, I've always been an entrepreneur, always taken risks, and sometimes they're magic. Like a Raffles, a Prezzo, a Deck 84, and sometimes they're tragic. Like
what was your biggest brick?
My biggest
loser in that regard.
I guess the most recent one is the biggest one is a Pagoda Kitchen.
Oh yeah, the Chinese that you did out west. Yeah. And
that was, I'm still paying that one.
Do you still control that space, or what's in store for that?
I gave it back to the landlord.
Okay. But you still, of course, have Burton Max's out west.
Yeah, which does great.
Yep.
Which does great.
And that's a classic Americanized, just
fastball down the middle.
Yep. And people like that out here. Again, we're here with Bert Rappaport.
What great stories, huh?
Yeah, the guy, he's been around. Yeah. And it's funny because when you say, Bert Rappaport, sometimes people think Bert and Jackson. I have to correct people that no,
No.
you weren't. But do people make that mistake and they think
Well,
that
Jack
you were?
doesn't. Yeah, some people mistake it, but that was Jack Jackson, Burt
Jack
Reynolds.
Jackson and Burt Reynolds, of course. But mind if people confuse you for Burt Reynolds? I guess that's.
Well, he's not looking too good lately.
That's true.
Wrong side of the grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. So hey, let's maybe we should take a little break at this point. We'll I'll chow down. I had is this the what kind of this is
That's
a
great.
Deck 84 roll?
Yeah,
or-
a deck roll.
I just had a piece. It's great. It's got like little of the small salmon eggs, the roe on top. It looks like cream cheese,
Yeah.
tuna,
Like it, Devo?
and it's got
Fantastic. I'm not even a sushi guy. That's fantastic.
a very nice delicate fish.
Got a
and,
nice little spike to it. I mean, it's really great.
And I got to give high praise, of course, to the ceviche. Also, melt in your mouth. The fish and the shrimp is very tender. And, some people don't like fish that's chewy, but this is well marinated. Got those great tropical flavors, a little bit of grapefruit and some of the other things, the mango. Job well done here, Bert. This is beautiful.
Holy, yeah.
I
this
haven't
is
been in
fantastic.
here in a few years, and probably pre-COVID. And it's just it's nice to be out here amongst all the beautiful people.
Definitely among the best of Delray, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, best of Delray
Tell
Beach.
Dick Steen
Thank
to
you
put this
for-
right on the cover of
Yeah,
that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
Dick Steen got
Yeah.
tied up, but yeah, I'm involved with that new Best of Delray Beach, Best of Local app that you could get download on the App Store, and we feature all the great restaurants in Delray Beach. It's loaded at your fingertips and one-stop shop. You can get all the touch points. You can make a reservation, go to check out the menu. Do you do takeout or delivery here, or is it?
A little. They don't really push it.
Okay, yeah. But anyway, let's take a break, and then we'll come back and chat some more with Burt Rappaport after these words.
Okay.
Mayo here for Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Since 1951, family owned for over 70 years, the home of freshness. I've been a customer for over 3 decades, and it's the place to go for poultry, steaks, meats, and of course, their unbelievable selection of fish and seafood. They've got it all. Key West pink shrimp, grouper, snapper, lobster, and of course, Florida stone crab claws of all sizes. Don't forget their famous fish dip and a full selection of prepared foods. It's located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, just across from the Seminole Classic Casino. Owner Doug Carter and crew will take great care of you. Make sure to check out their weekly specials and daily catch online at DelawareChicken.com. Quality, value, freshness, that's the Delaware way. Tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. Do you like pizza? Who doesn't like pizza? Well, my spot for pizza is the Pizza Spot. It's in that little bit hard to find Riverside Park neighborhood of Fort Lauderdale, but it's totally easy to love. It's at 601 Southwest 12th Avenue, New Haven style, a pizza from Wade and Reese. It's a lovely outdoor spot. You could also pick up pies to go at 754-779-7788, 754-779-7788. Again, they're open every day but Monday for lunch and dinner. Some of the best pizza I've ever had. Go to Pizza Spot. They also have subs, salads, and more. Tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, that's my spot. It's upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. Looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more? Go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 and the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6. The early bird special runs from 4:30 to 5:30, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Hey, it's Mike Mayo.
when the Brooklyn boy in me wants a good bagel with Nova or some matzo ball soup, homemade knishes, or a great deli pastrami sandwich on rye, you know where I go? Grandpa's Cafe in Dania Beach. It's been around a long time, an institution, but a little over a year ago, a pair of New Yorkers came in, bought it, and refurbished the place. It's beautiful, and they are now serving great breakfast, brunch, lunch. They've got the omelets, they've got eggs Benedict, they've got all kinds of great baked goods like rugelach. Grandpa's is just off Federal Highway on Southwest 1st Street in Dania Beach. It's open 7 days. Go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally, and they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Go in there on a Wednesday. They got buy one, get one on cheesesteaks from 5 to 8 p.m. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
Back here on the Lunchbox. It's Thursday. It's almost the weekend. We had the Heat win game one against Boston last night. Third consecutive series where they capture game one on the road. When will people respect them? And then, of course, we have the Panthers continuing their magical run tonight in Carolina, at Raleigh, North Carolina, against the Carolina Hurricanes, the start of the Eastern Conference Finals on the path to the Stanley Cup. Are you a big sports fan, Bert? Do you pay attention to the
Oh, yeah. I had Heat season tickets when they first started for years.
Oh, wow. So you had to suffer through some of the Ron Ross team.
Oh, the Ron Ross team.
Not suffer. I mean, they had the 0-17 start or something, if I remember.
But we drank through that. But our seats were 2 rows behind the bench, so we
Remember when the
couldn't be
ball
better.
used to go into Ronnie Cycling and it would disappear? And then the refs would be looking around, where's the ball? And it turned out he like stuffed it in his shorts like it was Meadowlark Lemon or something. It was great. Those were the days.
They were.
So you still pay attention and are rooting for the Heat, obviously.
Oh, I love the Heat.
That's good.
Yeah.
How about hockey? If you were a New Yorker, did you
Well, no, I never took on to hockey much until my friend bought the Panthers, Cliff Viner.
Oh, okay.
And so I used to go to games with Cliff.
So you had freebie tickets?
Yeah.
All right, beautiful.
Yeah.
That's my favorite type of ticket.
Free's
The
good.
freebie, yeah.
The only problem was I had to stay to the very end.
Oh,
geez.
you could be a fairly
Nothing
cutout.
game.
And they were losing every
I
night.
said, what do you think, Cliff?
That-
What do you think?
That
No, we
would
got to
be
stay.
rude. So we're here reminiscing about the decades that Bert spent in the industry. And before we get to the present and I guess some of the the challenges of being a restaurateur in today's world, I just want to touch on a little bit about the relationship between you and Dennis Max. I guess you've partnered on restaurants and then you've had your own separate projects. I mean, talk a little bit about Max's Grill is one of, the Rappaport Restaurant Group restaurants again, and that was something that you started with Dennis? Or?
Yeah, it's interesting because I met Dennis when I was 23 years old. So, we go back a really long time, 50 years. So when we opened up Prezo in 1990, it was a huge success. And so from there, we partnered up with Will Chamberlain, and we opened up Wilt's.
You did Wilt's? Okay. Was that on Glades Road?
It was Glades
yeah, very
Alliance.
popular place.
Yeah, I remember that.
I spent a lot of money there, right?
Thank you.
It was great.
Here's a fact.
It was nice. The whole concept of having a regular basketball court there was fantastic. Kids loved it.
Oh, it was a great concept.
Yeah.
I guess ladies' night could be a little scary. If
How
Will
did
was
Pete
in the
Rose
house.
do across
Not
the
for
street?
Will.
How did Pete Rose do across the street?
Pete did well.
He did well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so I didn't realize that
Yeah,
you
but
were
that was a big
involved with
choice,
Will's.
It was good for everybody.
Yeah.
And then you did
And then-
was
so-
Burton Max's or Max's Grill or
No, we ended up having 14 restaurants.
Okay.
So from Wilt's, we opened up Max's Grill, and then we went down back to Miami and opened up Max's South Beach, and then the Astor Bar and Grill on South Beach.
Oh, you had Astor? Johnny Vincenz was
Johnny
your
V.
chef.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize these are all these things that even I, the restaurant
Mr.
critic,
Restaurant, yeah.
I'm always fascinated to hear the backstories and the history. I had no idea that you were.
Yeah.
It was you and
No,
Dennis.
Johnny V came in as a sous chef at Max's Grill, And then when we did Max's South Beach, we had Kerry Simon. Do you ever know him?
That name sounds familiar.
He was a Miami celebrity chef.
Yeah.
He was on the cover of Miami magazine. He did a couple places before he came with us, and then he went out to Vegas after that. But so Johnny was his sous chef, and Johnny was so talented when we opened up the Astor. We brought him in there.
He got a
and
huge buzz. There was all kinds of.
the Astor was picked as one of the top 10 best new restaurants in the country, and it was really that and Mezzanotte started the resurgence of South Beach.
Right. Is when I forgot, it was the German developer who started up buying up all the lots, and then all
Tony
these club
Goldman.
and all the
Yeah.
restaurants and boutique hotels started getting restored. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
So
Back
what
in the
happened at the
90s.
Astor is that it got so busy we had to sell it because it was in a hotel and there were lines outside waiting to get in. Like all the Heat guys were in there after the games. Everybody.
I remember
in
I was a
Miami
regular. I
in
mean, a semi-regular. I'd go down there. I was on Washington.
there. Yeah, right on Washington.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and really, really good food, especially when Johnny V was at the helm there. So yeah, that's job well done. So, but Max's Grill in Meisner is still going strong, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the
So,
4 properties.
Max's Grill's 32 years.
Wow.
And it was originally it was me, Dennis, and Dennis's wife Patty,
Mhm.
and then we brought in a partner to help with the expansion, and then that partner sold somebody else, and then when Dennis and I split up in 1999,
Mhm.
we had 14 restaurants from South Beach to Orlando, and we just got burnt out.
Oh yeah.
It's like a marriage in a way,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. It's-
Yeah, I mean, we got tired of each other. We ended up both getting
Same
divorced.
thing with Mayo and me. And it's only been 2
It's only
years.
been a year or two.
Yeah,
Yeah. It seems longer.
Sorry about that, guys.
Talk about burnout. Yeah. I'm ready to jump in the intercoastal here. Just ended right now.
So, but
So we decided to go separate ways. I said, why don't I keep the Prezos and you keep the Maxes? And he said, no, we want to split. We want to sell everything.
Oh, yeah?
But we said, we got to keep Maxes and Meisner. I mean, that's,
yeah,
that was a gold mine.
it's a gold mine. Yeah.
So we sold everything except for that. And then Dennis took over operating it. And I went and opened up a place called Henry's in Delray.
Right.
And so while Dennis was running it, he brought in this other partner, and they took out a bank loan to open up some more Max's Grills. And those restaurants never worked out for him.
Wow.
And then at some point, he couldn't make the bank commitment, and the bank took over their stock, and the bank came in and asked me if I would go back in and operate it.
Okay. So that's where we're at today.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's where we're at. This
Do
happened
you and
Working for
Dennis
the bank,
have any
that's a
kind of
good one, yeah.
relationship? Do you still?
No.
Okay.
because when he lost his stock, and I was there, it didn't sit right with him.
Okay.
And
I
then
guess
it was a tough one for
Okay.
him.
It could be a pride
And
thing.
he moved out of the area.
Okay, but his his name is still on the restaurant. That's such a well-known brand.
Oh, wait a
and
minute. Whoa.
they
What did you do
hey,
here,
it's
Mayo?
round 2.
Oh, my God.
This is Bert. He knows me. He's trying to. He was softening me up with some of
there you
these
go.
healthier
There you go.
items.
Now
and
we're talking here.
This
man.
is my
Now-
challenge.
Yeah.
Now look what happens. Now we
Yeah.
get.
You brought in
Well, these
reinforcements.
also look very healthy.
That's
We've got
cauliflower.
that's cauliflower, which again, that's good
That's
for you.
cauliflower. That looks fantastic.
It's
man.
a little bit.
Yeah.
What else do we have here, Bert?
That's a new the shrimp bruschetta. It's new on the menu.
Shrimp
and,
skewers, yeah, with a
and-
little bit of the couscous and some other vegetables.
and then
it
our
looks-
number one seller, mahi tacos.
He tacos. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll,
Lubie's already got his eyes
I'll
on
dig
all
on that.
three
Yeah,
of those.
Lubie. It looks
yeah,
like
that,
Go
he
for it.
hasn't
that may not
eaten
make it this
since
far under the
the
table.
year of
yeah.
That's okay.
flood.
We got more
Okay,
back
Okay,
there.
now go ahead. Go ahead. You guys indulge. I'm
So
good,
again,
I'm
we're
good.
here at Deck 84. It's in the 800 block of East Atlantic Avenue.
Easy to find.
Easy to find.
Yes.
This one's very easy to find.
Easy to
Just
find.
get off 95. Thank you very much.
Just
Lubie,
turn right
sir.
before the bridge. That's all
And
you gotta do.
and then before you get across the intercoastal, you're gonna just
Excuse me.
you'll see it on your right. It's a beautiful place.
Thank you very much.
Great place to hang out, catch a nice light lunch, and have some drinks and have some good conversation. Catch up with old friends and this whole Delray area. What do you think of what's happened with Atlantic?
Oh,
I mean,
just amazing.
yeah.
It was.
I mean, all the
unbelievable.
development and all the. I mean, and again, the culinary scene as, it seems like more restaurants are opening. There's Le Colonial and Atlantic Crossings. And are you of the opinion that a rising tide lifts all boats, that it's better for a restaurant to actually have more restaurants around? Because
Yeah, I think restaurants bring restaurants. I just don't like, I probably shouldn't say this, but I don't like chain restaurants
okay,
because they come in and they suck all the money out of the local economy and don't give anything back in
okay, if they're
return.
publicly owned or if
Yeah,
they're going off to
yeah.
stockholders around.
I'd like to support local businesses.
Yeah, and I do. I happen to agree with you. I always tend to gravitate towards the locally owned, and even if it's like a mini chain, and even places like Sicilian Oven that do a nice job, or the El Camino has a couple of locations, but they're all kind of locally based businesses.
Yeah, even Anthony's.
Yeah. Anthony's, Coal Fire. Well, back in the day, now they're owned by the same people as BurgerFi, which is like some bigger, was it the private equity firms that started to gobble them up. But
that's true.
but it's nice to have local success stories turn into something like that, and that's always a good thing. Let's talk a little bit about just the changes through the years. I mean, when you started off, well, I guess it was a little crazy if there was cocaine cowboys running around and shootouts and stuff. But now it seems like it's the customers who are, I guess, have the not literal guns, but they come in with guns ablazing on social media, and everyone's a critic, but not everybody is equipped to be a fair critic. Is that kind of the thing that drives you? Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth. What do you think this whole new era of everyone's a critic and all this social media?
So I think it makes it really difficult for people opening up a new restaurant. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur opening up your first restaurant or doing a concept that's different, you have social media out there, and you come up to the plate with 2 strikes on you with Verlander on the mound.
Wow.
It's like those people come in, and they're paying good money, and they expect to have a good experience. But new restaurants don't get good till at least 6 months down the road. But social media happens.
The first 2 months, it's a trial and error. They're tweaking things.
Oh, it's a shit show everywhere. I mean,
and what bothers me is, back when I was the professional critic for the Sun Sentinel, my rule of thumb was I would never set foot in a restaurant until it was open at least like 4 to 6 weeks, and I would never write a review until like 2 to 3 months after it opened, just to get all the bugs out. And nowadays, like you said, people come in on the first night, the second night, and they go on Yelp and blast away with 1-star reviews. And it's just like, I think Yelp and some of these social media channels, even if they list a new restaurant, they shouldn't accept any reviews and post any reviews until, let's say, week number 4 or something like that.
Right.
I don't know. But
I agree totally. But now it is what it is. So we make the best of it. Every week in our managers' meetings, we review every review.
Wow.
And the 5-star reviews.
There's Dickstein, Steve Dickstein.
Yeah.
Founder and
I bet him
CEO of Best of Delray, Best of Local. So you review the reviews and see if they have validity, or do some of them just say this person is a crank looking for a freebie and we don't need to pay attention to it?
Yeah, sometimes some people are just out and out crazy, so we disregard those.
There's a lot of people who are out and out crazy.
But every item, if someone says the meatloaf was dry, let's go make a meatloaf. We look at everything that people say, and if the service was slow, you could tell who the server was. We talked to the server about it. So it's really helped us, and I'm sure other restaurants, up their game.
Yeah. Look, it's a double-edged sword because you do want to get some constructive feedback, but you don't want people flaming the business and trying to sink it. And it seems like some people are just vicious. I mean, we had this unfortunate incident where Death by Pizza, which is in Delray. I don't know if you've gotten to have it yet. It's that Detroit-style thicker pizza, and a lovely brother and sister duo that branched off. They had a cookie shop here, but now they're doing this pizza, Kobe and Zoe, and they take great pride in all their pizzas. They also have a lot of success. And one day recently, they sold out. They made 200 pies, and they were out of dough, and that's it. When there's no more, there's no more. You can't wave a magic wand. Well, some woman shows up and apparently was incensed that they had run out of pizza, and they were told that there's no, they were sold out. And the woman basically, there's 2 stories, but the woman went on to the Let's Eat group and said, I don't like it there. They were rude. And then the side of the story from the restaurateur was, oh yeah, she came in. We told her nicely that there was no more. We're sold out that day. They said that she started cursing. She threatened assault. She said she was going to karate chop them if they didn't make her a pizza. They said that.
Did you still keep dating this woman? Mayo, it sounds like somebody
right
that's
away.
in your entourage.
I couldn't
But
But,
you kidding me? You're out of pizza.
But the thing is, she's like incensed. She started cursing them out. Just like a nightmare customer who says, "Oh, I'm going to annihilate you on social media." This is what allegedly, according to the restaurateurs, that's what she said. And it's like people have that kind of attitude. And sure enough, she went on to Google reviews and left a 1-star review, and penned her side of the story, which didn't comport with what the other. But it's just to me, if I was running a restaurant, I don't know how I would deal with that. If people who are just like out and out trying to get you and harm your business, and you're doing a good job, you've sold 200 pizza. How about come back another day, a little bit earlier, and give it another shot?
Well, sometimes when people are either mean or they exaggerate the truth, I'd send a stern response.
Well,
In the old days, I never would have wanted to risk offending somebody.
Right.
But I'm no old now. Who cares?
Defo's like that too. It's
well,
great.
how important is the food critic? Because I mentioned Elmer Dills there in L.A. You're probably
different.
familiar with this
They're
guy.
Yeah.
And if he said something, that was it. He could make or break a place. We've seen this a little bit with David Portnoy and Pizza, the guy from Barstool Sports, where he gives a place a 7 and a hook, and they're sold out for the next 10 years. How important is that? You've opened a zillion restaurants. Have you had any experiences where it's been either excessively positive or negative?
The big-time influencers definitely have an impact.
Mayo?
Not
The people
time.
fear Mayo is
Well,
the question.
no,
Yeah, they fear him, don't they?
I don't.
Yeah.
No, these influencers now, they will operate a little differently than old school newspaper journalists,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
You were assuming you were getting a fair criticism in the newspaper, even though, obviously people have their various opinions and biases, but it used to, it was like a Broadway review. I mean, certain people would write about a place, and if it was favorable, it would make or break the place.
Yeah.
Right at the start.
Yeah.
but
absolutely.
those days are over.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, because most of the the newspapers have kind of shrunk so much, and they don't have full-time critics anymore. They still have food writers, but it's like they're afraid to have an opinion or put an opinion anymore, and they just left it to the people, the vox populi, who go out, and some of them know what they're saying, and some of them don't. But
It's like the animals are running the zoo.
It's a different world. Yeah, absolutely different world.
by the way, Rich,
All of this is great, man. This cauliflower is the
great.
best treatment of cauliflower I've ever seen.
I
Because
don't-
cauliflower used to come under the heading of, my mother would say, "You like cauliflower," and I was like, "No, I don't."
Yeah.
But this is great. Yeah,
Will you do a review for us?
I'm doing it. This is great. Order it. Now,
do you find one is more influential than the other in terms of, is it like Yelp? Do people pay attention to Google reviews, or is it the
best of Delray, obviously.
Best of
is
Delray
huge,
Facebook
huge
group? I mean,
influence.
or some of these other Facebook groups like Let's See South Florida and Best of Delray. What?
I think it's the three: TripAdvisor, Yelp, and Google.
Mhm.
All have a lot of influence, especially in places like Delray and Boca, because out-of-towners are coming here, and that's where they look.
Right, and so you monitor it, and it's one of those things where you gotta, like you said,
You
stay
learn
on top
from
of
it, and then we invite people back. A lot of times we screw up, it happens. So we try to get hold with them, invite them back in.
Well, that's the thing I always said when I was a critic. It's like every place is gonna mess up and be human. It's how they recover, and that's really the mark of
Yeah,
separating good places from not so good places.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the pandemic and how that's changed the whole industry, and just from everything from staffing and customers' expectations, and has it made you revisit some things about maybe you need better work-life balance? Maybe places do need to kind of close one day a week, or
absolutely. I mean, the pandemic was a huge game changer, and it caused every restaurant to change their business model. If they didn't, they're out of business. And
Wow.
so it's like at Max's Grill, we used to give the sun-dried tomato hummus and homemade breadsticks as part of the package, and it was expensive. And when the pandemic hit, we said, we can't keep doing things the way we've been doing them.
right?
And so, we decided to start charging for that. And most people understood, some people didn't. The biggest thing that the pandemic did was it got more people to sit outside.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even today, I see more people sitting outside than inside.
Even in the summertime, even when it's a little bit warmer.
On a nice night. Yeah, it's a nice little breeze. People will sit outside. And in the past, it used to be like the best kept secret. Sit outside. It's quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so what happened was, so the pandemic was 3 years ago. So for 2 years, restaurateurs were trying to navigate through staff being sick, wearing masks for 8 hours a day, spacing your tables and whatnot. Then we went from that. As soon as that got over, we went into inflation, and the cost of everything went through the roof. Not only food, but payroll, credit card fees, insurance, you name it. And we had to, rethink our business model once again to stay alive. So this right now, going into the summer now, is really the first time we could take a break and really look at our business and go back and say, what's important? And really what's important to us and what we're doing is we're going back and looking at every single menu item on every single one of our menus.
Wow.
Happy hour, dessert, lunch, dinner, brunch, and saying, is it great? Yes. If it's not, let's either get rid of it or fix it. And we're going to spend the next 5 months just taking it one by one.
Okay, so it's going to be like a paring down process, a curation, or replacing things with other things.
It could be one or the other.
Right. Okay.
But
The other thing that was impacted too is staffing. All of a sudden, you had a situation where people didn't want to work anymore. And I noticed this where my wife tends bar, and we know a lot of people that are in the service and hospitality business. And I'm amazed at how many people, how many times she says, "Oh yeah, everybody called in sick at the last minute."
Right.
How difficult has that been to deal with? Because you used to have a thing. I mean, I would never not show up for work, or never even think about it. I mean, even on your deathbed, you're reluctant to call in. How has that changed the industry and the way that you have to approach it?
In the not so distant past, it used to be if somebody called in the morning and says they can't come in, we say, if you can't come in, don't bother coming in again.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Now, if someone says they can't come in, we say, well, when can you come in?
Right. Right.
Will a limo ride help encourage you to come? Yeah.
I mean, they got you. And it's really taken the fun out of the business because, you don't want to be in that position.
Well, that brings me to a point. I mean, you still enjoy it even with these new challenges and the social media.
Seems like it. Yeah, it seems like you're still having a good time out there.
You know what I enjoy most is dealing with the kids, coaching and mentoring and watching them grow and move on in their lives, and also interacting with the customers.
Yeah.
When we had 14 restaurants, it was the worst time of my career because I couldn't do it. I couldn't be there. I didn't know I took pride in knowing my employees' names, and I couldn't with 14 restaurants.
Yeah.
So now I'm back to doing what I really enjoy doing, and I have a good balance in my life.
So you go make a little rotation circle around the 4 properties, and you're able to kind of actually schmooze and meet and greet. And that's what a common thread between every good restaurateur that I know, an old school restaurateur, that's a compliment, is they want to press the flesh. They want to see the people's smiles. And if something's wrong, tell it to their face. Just give restaurateurs a chance to correct if something is wrong.
Yeah.
And don't go home on the keyboard 4 hours later. Do it while somebody can do something about it. So that's.
But what we've done with the staff is we wanted to be considered the best restaurant company in Palm Beach County. So we gave 401k program. We gave 3 weeks paid vacation. We
could you buy a radio or a television station?
No, wait. Are you hiring?
Are you into streaming?
You said you were a bartender?
No, that's great because look, there is competition for workers now, and when what you used to pay a busboy or a line cook, now they could make that same money in a lot easier way by creating their own schedule, by being an Uber driver or working for Amazon. It's up to the restaurant business to respond with to compete for those workers. The problem is it forces the prices to go up.
But the thing in Florida, it's even more difficult because you have to be a legal citizen to work. And the E-Verify, we take very seriously. So think of a dishwasher. To have a legal dishwasher is a very rare thing.
Right.
And so these legal guys that come from a different country, they can go to Amazon and make $20 an hour plus benefits. So you got to compete with that.
Right.
So all of a sudden you went to paying a dishwasher 13, 14 to 20, which actually I'm good with that because inflation, you want to see these people,
Right,
you know,
sure.
they'll be able to live.
Yeah.
But,
But like you said, you guys have a structure, corporate structure, and you have to do things by the book. You know, some of the kind of more mom and pop family run business can still kind of have that underground thing, but it's it's tough. It's tough. The competition is tough, and just customer expectations. They want big portions, great quality, and zero prices. You know, and that's just
And everything
not
else
a-
for free. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a
Right.
realistic.
Please count my
formula.
coffee and dessert, and you know I don't want to pay a tip either. But
right. And if you don't, I'm going to write you up on social
yeah,
media.
and otherwise you're going to get a scathing indictment
Hey,
Right.
Bert,
against the place.
I really appreciate you
Fascinating,
sitting down
yeah.
with us. We got to do one more break, and then we're going to come back and wrap up the show. It is a Delaware chicken and seafood Thursday. Go on out there for this weekend. We're going to be, again, it's a great time to be out grilling. If you don't want to go into a restaurant, do one day in a restaurant, one day at home grilling. Get your stuff at Delaware. They got the greatest selection, value, quality, 4191 North State Road 7. We'll be there next Thursday talking about some of the great pork products from our friends there at the performance food in Miami. We're going to be doing some ribs and pork tenderloin, pork chops. That's going to be fun next Thursday at Delaware Chicken and Seafood. And we'll be back after these words to wrap up this lunchbox. Once again, Bert Rappaport.
Bert, wow, thank you so
Decade
much.
4. And I have a
Excellent
feeling we're
stuff.
going to be
Excellent.
seeing some more of each other and your restaurants coming up later on this year. I'm really looking forward to doing some stuff with you.
Thanks for having me,
Yeah,
Mike.
it's great.
Take care.
All right, coming back with more.
Beach Cafe. It's a South Florida landmark, and it's one happy restaurant right on the water. Tables literally on the beach. A place where you could dip your toes in the sand, kick back, relax with island vibes, tropical drinks, and live music daily. You know it. It's at One Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea. And of course, it has Chef Chris Nealon and his famed Caribbean Floridian cuisine. With a huge menu with something for everyone. Seafood, raw bar, conch fritters, burgers, sandwiches, salads, deli specials, and of course, that famous Bimini bread. They've got a great staff that'll take great care of you. There's something to celebrate every day, open 7 days until late, parking available on site, happy hour weekdays 4 to 7 p.m. Go check out more at arubabeachcafe.com. Better yet, go in there yourself at Aruba Beach Cafe. Good food, drinks, friends, and laughter are always the catch of the day. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the black and grilled wings, and of course, the kitchens are open late. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you.
And you caught us with our mouths full again. We're here on the Lunchbox.
You're chowing down now. Now you're getting serious.
Well,
man. I
now
like
that
it. It's
Bird
about
is gone,
time,
I
yeah.
could lose all pretense of
You
having
actually
any
were the
manners.
modicum of decorum during the whole and Bird
I
Rappaport
showed
appearance here on the
admirable
show.
restraint. I also
Yeah, it's good questions.
That
You
was
call,
my
yeah.
favorite. I was waiting for Devo. I gave Devo actually not only Mayo, because we've seen Mayo try to be on this game, and I always think it's funny. My favorite was Defo holding restraint and making fun of Mayo. Defo actually let Mayo stand on his own, and I give him credit because I wanted to make fun of you the entire time. He took a friggin' wrap, Defo, and was eating it with a fork and knife. Mike Mayo, who literally puts half a sandwich in his face with dressing down his cheeks, was eating a wrap with a fork and a knife.
kind of guy that should start the show by hitting himself in the face with a pie,
He was drinking sauce.
drinking like soy sauce in the previous show.
There are certain legendary figures that you have to
Tree
treat.
chip smeared on his forehead.
I was
You
like,
don't come to Las Vegas and talk to a man like
Like
Mo
Burt-
Green
yeah,
like
exactly.
that. And
Burt
I
Rappaport
can't
like
come
that.
Good
to
principle.
Deck
Yeah.
84 and chow down and behave myself like I usually do with a man like Burt Rappaport.
I was-
Rappaport's fascinating.
he
talk
was
about-
really great.
Yeah.
I really learned a lot from him, and I
Well,
hopefully
and he had a lot
we
of
can have him on in the
failures. That was
future.
the weird thing, and he's not ashamed to admit it.
Well, that's the thing. In business, a lot of people say that their biggest learning it comes from failures.
I don't
And-
find that to be true.
that's us.
Failure, unfortunately, becomes habitual, and in our
well,
world,
in Bert's case
Yeah.
and Rappaport Restaurant
It's
Group's
worked
case,
for him.
they end up having more successes than failures. So it's like a baseball team. Yeah,
Yep.
you're going to lose 30. You're going to lose 60 over the course of the season. But if
Yep.
you win 100, you're still doing pretty good.
Yep.
And that's what they do here now. I mean,
Max's Grill, man, and Meisner. Are you
I didn't
kidding
really
me?
see him with Max's.
If
Max's
that was
is a
all he
grill.
had, the guy would be able
When
to
I was-
retire right here in the water.
When I was in college, I'd come down there and they had the one in Riverfront, and they had like the 3 for whatever the heck, which can't be the safest thing in the world, but we loved it because it was like you would get hammered, and then they turn into a club, and that place was amazing. So I didn't realize there was still a Max's Grill around. That's great.
How
No,
about
and
they had Angelo Elia making like lasagna in the back?
yeah,
of
he's
some place.
Dave Angelo a star. Meanwhile, how about him, like, being party boy at Raffles and
That's
then
so
having to
funny.
go crash on the couch at his parents' house just to kind of, get back, to come back from the verge of exhaustion. But
Deck
some great
84, a
stuff.
nice spot here, though. I
This
mean,
place is
you would have to
beautiful.
rate this very highly on your, a
Yeah,
list
no,
of places to
The
visit in
views are
Delray.
spectacular.
And I just love
The
all
food's
the old
great.
stories and just learning about, Emilio Estefan and John Cicada and the whole Raffles era of Miami Sound Machine when they were known as the company. All these origin stories fascinate me. And and good for him. He's still going strong in his 70s. So there's,
definitely
there's
hope.
a,
Mr.
Yeah,
DeForest.
there's hope.
What I find is most interesting when we
Although he
sit
started
down,
with a bigger bankroll than I did in my 70s. Yeah.
when we sit down with these restaurant tours, and we've sat down with a few of them now. We've talked with Anthony Bruno, now about Rappaport, 2 of the greats in South Florida. What
That's
I
it,
find
Tommy T.
interesting is the most
How about
success
Tommy Teagan.
he's doing his thing. Good for him. Is when they have their highest success, right? He's owning 14 restaurants at once, which we would all go, we're jealous. That's amazing.
Yeah.
He was actually the most upset because he couldn't do what he loved, which was meeting the people, talking to the staff. It's just funny. He had his highest success, and then he's like, you know what? Let me pare it down
Step
because I
back.
really want to go back to what I enjoy
because
doing.
doing that
Or I would have
one-on-one.
expanded to 28 restaurants immediately and said, you know what? I don't know anybody's name, but I'm making a ton of cash.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I just love all those old stories and things I did not even realize.
Yeah,
So
Cocaine Cowboy stuff was
learning.
That was good, man. That was one of your
that
better
was-
additions to the Lunchbox.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Very nice.
co-host.
You were
So-
restrained.
Yeah.
I was so proud of you.
I just was observing, I didn't want to say anything about your consumption of food.
No, well, and again, I am
Right, Defo.
now, going with the keto route. I'm not stuffing that. Look
Plus,
at this. I
16
don't eat the
intimidates you.
I don't eat
16's
the
here.
tortillas now. I'm
Yeah.
just having this grilled shrimp. Yeah. Uh-uh. We're still on the air.
We're still doing the
We're
show.
still on the air. Nobody
You
could
gotta
hear me.
love the Dick
Dick
Steen
Steen is here. He is
To
in full
Dick
Dick
Steen,
Steen mode. That's going to do it for today.
Yes,
We got,
it
will.
again, Panthers on deck tonight.
Panthers tonight. Come
Panthers
on,
tonight,
Cats, let's
8
go.
o'clock. And the Heat did their job. They won a game 1 again. And now the Panthers are going to try to win their game 1. And we're going to
What's your
just
prediction, Mike Mayo?
well, first of all, I just want to pat myself on the back because my crazy cockamamie scheme from yesterday, where I said I wanted to bet the Heat on the money line for the series,
Right?
bet the Heat getting 8.5 points, and
Right.
do what I call the value hedge, which was put money on the Celtics to win the game on the money line. That would have been a losing bet. So I would have been, 2 out of 3.
What did you do to this guy?
No, but the,
16.
listen to
It used
this.
to make
If
sense.
the Celtics had pulled out the game and won, I would have taken those winnings and put it back into the Heat winning the series at even greater odds at 8-1 if they had lost. Now I'm sure it's
I
down
think
to only
you need another
2-1.
cocktail. Yeah.
All right.
You-
No, anyway, that's what we're going to do for the Panthers tonight. We're going to bet the Panthers to win the game outright. We're going to bet the Panthers to win the series. And that's it. We're just going to
Wait till they lose the game, then bet them to win the series. Yeah.
LA is going to they're going to win tonight. Yeah, we're going to have an LA win and a Panthers win. That's my prediction.
All right.
Now I'm stuffing my face. Now I'm back to the old Mayo form.
So what are we going to do? We're going to bet Denver and Carolina.
Run the
Okay.
other way.
Yeah.
Hey,
Good
thanks
job.
again to Burt Rappaport, all the people here at Deck 84. Had a fantastic time. Come on
Great
out
food.
when you're in Delray Beach.
That's
This
dynamite.
is the place to catch a beautiful, breezy
Best
outdoor
treatment of
al
cauliflower
fresco
I've ever had,
lunch.
including some vegetarian joints.
Good
Very nice,
cauliflower. That's going to do it for now. That's it. Enjoy every sandwich.